This is Phantom Electric Ghost, and we're live on the air with Stephen Hoskinson for the first time. Welcome to the Phantom Electric Ghost podcast. How you doing tonight?
Thank you so much. I'm so jazzed to be able to talk together with you.
Well, it's fun to talk to new people, and we're live on the air, and we've got a couple of new things we let people know. There's a QR code up there that actually links to your website, which is organicintelligence.org, which you have a link there, but it's a little more than that in the link. That will be clickable when the podcast is over, but if you want to use the QR code, you can follow along and click there on that. So that's a new feature we're doing for tonight, and we're going forward to using that. But welcome to the show again. And before we get to the heart of your story, I always ask every guest a couple questions. What motivates you, and why do you do what you do?
From as little as I can remember, one of the first things my mom and dad would tell me, I think they were a little worried because they would go, Steve, you have to look out for number one. Remember, you have to look out for number one. And I was just kind of inclined to see things like, hey, we're all in this together, aren't we? And so they were a little concerned about my individual future, but that's what kind of makes me tick. I really I'm a gardener. I'm a gardener of souls and people and relationships. And I just love to see those things grow.
Yeah, you want to kind of pay it forward. Some people are teachers. Some people are people that the therapists are people that actually caretake, or they help those around them, and they're kind of built that way. Yeah. And if some people might not understand that.
Right.
But yeah, that's what happens. So you're an internationally recognized teacher and author and an innovator. You created this post-trauma growth PTG method. So I don't know where you want to start. Do you want to start at the beginning or start where you're at?
Oh, my starting place was like, you resonated, it seemed to me, with that notion of like caring for other people. And I was kind of thinking maybe that's a little bit of your story too.
Yeah, well, I built this platform, this podcast platform, to kind of be able to have creative people or people who are innovative. They have an idea, a vision, and give them an open platform, a kind of safe area to talk about it and do it in more than today. We live in a world where people just talk for like really small clips, and you just get these little clips and everything's clipped up. And I wanted to do a long form, kind of hour long. Let's have a thoughtful conversation. Yeah. And no matter what the topic, let people talk about what their vision is. Yeah. And I think that's it's an oral history. It's like a master class every time you meet somebody. And I think that's my way of trying to pay it forward for people that hear all these voices, Oh,
that is beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you for your vision and enacting it so beautifully. Thank you.
So like, what I was just going through some of your background, and one of the things is like with therapy, like what's wrong with the status quo? Because I'm kind of a person that likes to be on the outer edges of things. Creative people, we try to dip our toe into something that maybe is not status quo, because that's kind of where we live.
Yep.
And I was very interested in you're challenging like the canon, which like a lot of people like in the arts, like, oh, I want to know, we study classical, you study Beethoven, you study jazz, you study the greats, and then you learn how to break it, right? Yeah. you change, like you have to have a foundation, but then you say, well, maybe I can challenge the foundation.
Right. Like Mingus and Miles, they're not the status quo, they broke it and it became better.
Yeah.
And never the same, the same. So yeah, I'm interested in that kind of thing. And, it is one thing, as a creative to go, I think it could be more interesting, and just being driven by how things could be more interesting and to go that way. And it is that for sure with me. And it is also that, man, you just look around and, therapy, everybody has, many people go to therapy for years, go to therapy for many days a week, and they're back to therapy, and they have more than one therapist. And, but you look around and I don't think it's moved the dial. I don't think
Mhm.
it's made us better as a society. And there are bunches of reasons for that, and people are making good strides in like community mental health and really looking at community-based wellness. But we take an inclusive and a different approach because standard therapy does not question one major thing, and that is you've got to feel it to heal it. You've got to figure out like what your problem is and where it came from, and then dredge it out somehow, like air it out or like something like that. And what we found is that's not true. It's absolutely not true. Like I came up in the world of trauma therapy, so I trained trauma therapists in particular, and that's the pinnacle of hey, you got to like get it out, air it out, and then you're going to feel better. It's like sometimes you got to feel worse before feeling better. And we just don't think that's the case because we find over and over again people talk like about what works, and they talk about the positive emergence of their feelings. They talk about the here and now. They talk about the things they love. And when we begin to shine the spotlight on those states within the person, that begins to grow. Everybody knows, like, attention is energy or something. You pay attention to what is working, and given the right circumstances, it'll grow into a beautiful garden.
Yeah, 'cause I guess maybe the problem is some people like, artists, we can run into the trap is a lot of times artists we use our pain or
Yeah.
we use our melancholy. We use the things that happen to us. We're very observant. And we're observant of not just the outer, but the inner. It's like
Yes.
like that looking glass self thing. And
Yes.
artists can kind of call in their subconscious and
Yeah.
they're kind of that their looking glass self, the things they're scared to talk about,
Yes.
and they'll put it into an art form.
Yes.
And if I process a song and I can go through a feeling,
Mm.
and then the idea is like, do I want to recreate the thing that created that feeling, or do I want to move on to a place where I could be more positive? Or do I
Right.
go into a destructive? And we've had the 28 club where we've run into people that went into the destructive.
Yes.
And you can
Yeah.
go that way or you can go the other way.
It's notorious in the field of creatives and artists, isn't it? That there is some transcendence that opens up because of our wounding, but when it opens up, sometimes people get swallowed in it. And so we have a kind of a process that helps people amplify. Like if we could, if like for instance, we see this in therapy as well, but like people are on the outside, maybe they're producing really well, they're making amazing strides, but their life is a wreck, and
Mhm.
they feel poorly on the inside, and we're able to bridge that gap.
Yeah, that's the thing, a big problem I see with some of the tech bros today. Their mindset is like, just burn yourself out because
Right.
that's the actual desired state.
Yeah.
Like, some of the tech guys I've run into is like they wanna burn people to, like, they're working 7 days a week, like 80% of the day
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
whatever they're working on.
Yes.
And it's like, well, there's no room for anything else.
Yeah.
And that I don't think that's the best way to boost the entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah, or goodness on the planet for everybody else. There is it's admirable in one sense because people are really making a self-sacrifice. But if you sacrifice too long, you're just in the game a short time. So your sustainable input is really limited. And that's what we're really after. I think honestly that things are so sideways in society right now that we don't have the luxury anymore of burning out. I think we've got to keep everybody in the game who is here for the common good and make sure they're empowered to stay focused and able and present to what's going on.
Yeah, it's kind of this idea, like, if you're a musician, right, and you over practice before the gig,
Yeah.
then you blow the gig. Like, if you
Right.
spend 8 hours doing your runs or practicing your skills
Yep.
for a 2-hour show, and then you get to the show and you've kinda burned out your hands,
Yeah.
then
Totally.
you're like then your show is crappy. It's like because you obsessed about
Yep.
being perfect
Yep.
and you
Yep.
screwed it up.
Totally, totally. Right. So indeed, I agree with that totally. And there's a quality of trust I think that develops. Like, if there is a contact, especially with creatives, there's a contact with that creative state or that creative muse. And it's not entirely under our control.
Mhm. It's a download.
and and so to really trust that it arises when it's needed, and then trusting, okay, so I'm going to rehearse, that's great, and then every now and then, the clouds part, and the jam opens up, and it's on,
Yeah.
and when it's in the pocket, that's the great mystery that you can't force. So I love the idea of trust, that we have it enough that we develop a trust, like, okay, I don't have to work that hard, because in some ways it's not really up to me.
Yeah, it's this idea of like every great, like whatever you do, you put your 10,000, 20,000 hours in, and you get this kind of muscle memory, whether you're like a TEDx speaker, you're a doctor, there's a certain level of confidence you have to not like at a surgeon, they're gonna have that kind of level of confidence that they're not doubting when they go into the brain surgery. They
Yeah.
know they got it, right?
Yes.
Like you have to have that level. And some people say, well, that's arrogant. So then the problem is like if you can't get like great musicians, like you get into that flow state, you're in the zone. You can't even ask me, like, I don't know where I was. It's like I was in the zone,
Right.
and you
Right.
kind of just let it happen. If you try to left brain, right brain, and try to analyze every moment in that flow
Right.
state, well, then it's like that. Then you just wreck the moment.
Totally. 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 I think we have enough of an understanding of the physiology of how to help people feel that trust, how to let go into the moment, and to do that in a way that self-doubt doesn't trip them up along the process. And that has a lot to do with, like, it's something that is, again, paradoxical to the therapeutic world, because therapy says, let's look inward. Let's look inward to our feelings. Let's look inward to our thoughts. Let's monitor our thoughts. Have better thoughts. Let's analyze our sensations a little bit, or our history or something. We say something totally different. We are utterly focused on, first, the relationship, the being together, and then secondly, on seeing how that biology, our system as a biology, is going to become more stable and adaptable. And we don't think it's by looking in. We actually believe it's by looking out.
Oh,
And
wow.
that's the wild thing. We call it orientation, and just connecting to the environment through the senses.
Well, you think about human beings, like we were always kind of connected to nature. If you think about like I'm part Native American Cherokee Blackfoot, and you get the oral histories of Cherokee and the Blackfoot, there's a connection to the world. And it's
Yes.
typical with like indigenous peoples, or like when
Yeah.
I lived in Japan for 2 years. And this idea, like if there's a connectedness to
Yeah.
not just the individual,
Yeah.
but the world around the individual, right? The
Right.
air, the water, everything, the
Yep.
things that are
Heaven.
unseen, like the spiritual
Yes.
side, those things are like if you get into a Western mindset, sometimes you get too analytical, too logical, and you don't see the connection. You say it's all just me. And if
Yeah.
you think it's all you,
Yes.
I think you missed the boat.
That's right. At the most basic level, yeah, you're stranded on Gilligan's Island or something.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's all that stuff that like, as a musician, the one thing the trick you learn is like if you get to the gig, you feed off the audience.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
feed off
Yeah.
the venue, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
you play a note and if you say, "Oh, that's how this venue works," right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
you're just like, "Oh, I can do that this here. This is
Yeah.
how this sound reacts here." And then
Mhm.
you check the state of your band, right? This
Yes.
is how we're feeling now. So
Yeah.
we're gonna go into what is now
Yep.
and not
Yep.
think about what we did a year ago, what we did last night, whatever. We think about what we're doing now, which is like a fusion mindset.
Yep.
Um,
Totally.
and a lot of people get hung up and just like, oh, I want to run the teleprompter, I want to read the sheet music, I want to read all the notes. It's like sometimes you got to trust that
Yeah.
you know what to say, that you know
Yes.
what to play, that
Yeah.
as a method actor,
Yeah.
I know that line because I am the character.
Yes.
I know who that character is, and any says, what the next day I know how they would feel. In
Yeah.
this situation, I know how they feel. And I might not do it perfect every day. I might do it different. And maybe that's good. It's imperfect.
Right.
The
Right.
happy accident
Yeah.
is the thing.
Yeah, it is. That's where the innovation really comes around. And hey, when you're gigging, when you looking into the audience, some people are more into what you're doing than others. Do you pay more attention to people that are really grooving to what you're laying
I
down?
think you pick up the vibe. Like if you pick up the vibe, there's a positive vibe, right? And you see that people are moving, they're nodding their head, they're moving around, they're looking into it, they're really eyeing you. If you're in a small gig and people are getting eye contact,
Hmm.
like sometimes that you can focus on one person that's really digging it. And like, wow, that person really is in on it. Right?
Yep.
They really get, but you don't want to totally just focus on that. But like the idea is like you pick up what's the vibe that's around you, the frequency.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, and this is how you can course correct like a comedian. Like if you're
Yeah.
bombing,
Yep.
you can see if you're bombing, and you have the ability to course correct in a moment.
Totally. Totally. And then catch that moment and ride that wave in.
You right, the next wave is like, oh, they're not digging this.
Yep.
And you
Yeah.
see musicians sometimes they'll go and do something. It's like, well, that ain't working. They switch to something else.
Yeah.
They'll do a course correction just like a comic.
Totally.
It
Totally.
happens like right in the moment. Like they pick up on it. Some are better at picking it up quicker than others.
Yep. Totally. Totally.
But
Right. That's exactly our approach with the biology too. Like we have all of these things going on. We have, like pictures in the mind. We have the sensations of the body. We have, like meaning things, cognitions and feelings. And we have this weird thing in the biology, which is called the negativity bias, which has us looking at what's wrong, which means we're always listening for the
mistake.
the chord that's off, or the string that's
Dissonance.
out of tune, or
Yeah,
the
the
person that's
dissonance.
not enjoying.
Yeah, dissonance or the distortion.
Right,
Then
not the groove.
not the groove. Well, Sundays like you gotta go through the dissonance and the noise to get to the harmony.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And sometimes you have to go through it to get to it.
Yeah, totally. But you can't hang on to it. You can't make that the star of the show.
No,
There's a bigger intelligence that's waiting to unwind. And what we say is an organic intelligence, that there is always a signal of harmony. There's always a message of support that's coming through all of those channels. We name them the ISOMA channels: image,
mm,
sensation, orientation, meaning, and affect. There's a signal that's always coming through one of those channels that is the harmony signal. And if I am patient enough, I hear all the other noise, but then the signal comes through. So the signal to noise ratio is the key.
yeah, that's how we like in music. I'm an electronic musician, so we use like 4-pole filters. These
What is that?
well, it's a filter that can actually take a sound wave and
Yep.
filter it like high pass, low pass bandwidth. It takes the whole frequency, all the headroom.
Yep.
And like if you have an analog instrument, it takes a lot of headroom versus a
Huh.
digital instrument, more precise. It could be like a bell tone, or a piano is like a bell type of tone. But an analog instrument takes up like the full bandwidth.
Because it's
Right.
got
So
all of these different
it's
sort of
too much.
systems that are creating extra noise.
It makes a lot of waveforms that are very, very present in the mix, and they're
Yep.
so wide and fat and warm they kind of overwhelm things.
Yes.
So we use filters. As sound engineers can like use high pass filters and low pass filters that like narrow the bandwidth, like bring that bass down, right?
Oh,
To bring a
right.
triangle out, right? I
Right.
can actually bring the vocal up or bring it down, or
Yeah.
bring a string instrument in or bring it up. You can control everything. It's like a total control freaks like dream. Like I can control every little piece of the sonic landscape like a sound painting.
Yes.
Everything's layered.
Yeah.
Everything's on a channel. And
Yeah.
I can separate the channels, and I can play with the hertz levels. I can play with all this stuff, and I can get you to feel a certain way from certain frequencies.
Yep. Yep.
And
Yep.
I know if certain frequencies will create certain feelings, or like blue moods, or pink moods or like, whatever. We come up with these ideas to kind of describe it in colors.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
kind of dive into like the whole like idea like sound affects people, like it's a frequency, whether it like you have a vibe over your heartbeat
Right.
or a voice
Hmm.
or a stringed instrument or any instrument. It
Yeah.
affects your human self, because
I'll
we're a
say.
frequency.
I'll say. I've listened to some of your work, and it's not just a single feeling that I have. It's 50 of them all at once. It's live in there, and so that's some magic that you do because you have, like you say, it's complete creative freedom. You can create any sound that you choose, and that's a real challenge. If you have an infinite number of sounds, how do you find the set
Sometimes
of
less
sounds
is
that
more.
really represent you?
Sometimes what you do is like you might start out with a line, you start taking things away. So
Yeah,
you
yeah,
might have like 16 channels, 24 channels worth of stuff,
right.
and then you start whittling it out.
Yep,
Or you might say, I'm gonna go with a very sparse arrangement,
right.
and I'm not gonna and the thing is like sparse arrangements leave, space between the notes.
Uh-huh.
Some people get scared of that. Like if you're a writer or a player or a musician, you
Yeah,
might fill up the space.
yeah. Or
If
a
you
therapist and you're not comfortable with the silence.
Yeah, you fill up the space, and it's like it's more risky to not fill up the space because you could actually hear a mistake
Yep. Yeah.
or
Right.
things are you gotta actually get it really right because everybody can hear it. If you layer, it's not as important, the micro timing.
Right.
You could be a
Right.
little off and no if so many layers, you won't hear it. So
Right.
do you just throw the everything at the kitchen, the kitchen sink at it, or do you
Right.
try to be more delicate?
Man. That's what I found with your compositions. They were just so precisely composed, and yet it was like the sonic painting. It was really
Exactly.
so coherent altogether. It's amazing what you do.
I think that people have to think about like what the filter that they're using. And
Mhm.
because I think when we communicate with other people, everything goes through like this four pole. You go through what I mean. I have a technical filter, but
Mhm.
everybody has their kind of mind filter.
Yep.
See what
Yeah,
they heard is dependent on their filter, right?
totally.
So if
Totally.
you hear this, and then like a person that goes back and say that's not what I said, but
Yeah,
that's how
right.
you heard it.
That's right. That's right. It's subjective, really. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so you have to kind of learn like, well, how do I control that, or how do I slow things down? And a
Yeah.
musician sometimes will take a piece, and to get to like really good dexterity, we'll play it very slow
Yes.
until we get to the ability to actually play it fast.
Yep.
But
Yep.
people, I don't know if everybody tries to just go out the bat like 0 to 100, and
Right.
sometimes you can't do that. You need to kind of
No.
practice. You need to slow it down.
Right, right. Yeah, in order to like build up to something. People aren't used to that. We're used to fast food, you know?
Yeah, it's harder,
Totally.
because like it's like a home cooked meal. It take you
Yeah,
4 hours to do.
totally.
Are you gonna do you value that, or do
Right,
you value the convenience? And do you
right.
value the just quick hit, or do you wanna actually know what that means?
Yeah,
Do
yeah,
you hear the trigger word and then go, "Oh, yeah, I'm into this," or did you actually question critical thinking, like, what is it they're saying? Like, where's
y
the evidence to that?
yes,
Why is it that way?
right.
Like, people just like, "Oh, and this push the buttons and let everybody just be in their own tribe."
Yeah. I think that what you're talking about makes really a lot of, again, it's so resonant with what we're doing because we think in those terms, in bandwidth. We think of like the human being as having a certain bandwidth, and what therapy does mostly, I think, and especially other certain types, they help you like arrange the stuff in the bandwidth you've got, the space you've got. But what
Mhm.
we do, I believe, actually grows the bandwidth. And so
That's what you
so
want.
people have to filter less. They can actually receive more because it's not overwhelming to
Oh,
them.
yeah, we get an overload. I think so many
Yeah.
people like a synesthesia. It's
Yes.
like they
Yeah.
get a hit, they get this overwhelm,
Right.
and
Right.
then they go to their known thing. Like, like we call it newfound sounds versus like known sounds. Like the
Yeah.
known sounds to me are like boring.
Yep.
So I rather go into a newfound sound, try to create something new, right?
Yes.
So then I'm expanding the palette rather
Yeah.
than using the known palette. You expand the palette. Well, that's going to
Yep.
be hard because like people say, well, I don't know what that is.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
People don't like stuff they don't know.
Right. They can become uncomfortable because it's maybe exceeding their expectation, exceeding their bandwidth, really.
Yeah, that's the hard lesson. People like the internet to me is a blessing and a curse. The
Yep.
social media because it tends to put people into spaces where they just stay within their known frameworks.
And get the same messages. The algorithms just keep on
They
feeding
do the
you
same
what
thing.
you want, the same thing.
It's like,
Yeah,
don't you get bored of that?
totally, totally.
But
Yeah,
it's like that's what that's how you make money. It's like you make money by regurgitating the same thing in a bad loop.
yeah.
And I've always been like a child of the 70s, right? I'm born in the 60s, 67. I was kind of like Frank Zappa kind of guy,
Oh,
like a
yeah.
Sun Ra type of guy,
Yep,
Lou Reed type of guy,
yep, yep.
Hendrixian, like Coltrane type of guy. You're like, why not push it? What's
Yeah.
wrong with like pushing like to the point? Like is that melody or is he doing something weird? The people playing with sound,
Mhm,
playing with
mhm.
Zappa was doing classical orchestration in rock.
That's right. That's
And
right.
like,
Yeah.
well, you're not supposed to do that. It's like, why not?
Right, right. And
Like,
until his final days, he was directing, in Germany, until the end.
yeah, he pulling like, all orchestral sounds out of
Yeah.
people, like
Yes.
challenging people to really go into their musicianship and not do what the thing that like that will get you to hit, to get
Yeah.
you to a top 10 hit. Like
Right.
that's not where his head was at. His
That's
head
right.
was I expand and then maybe people will come along
Yes.
and the people
Yep.
come along, that's
Yep.
fine. You don't have to just try to fit in the box.
Yep. Yep.
And there's a
Yep.
lot of thinking today is to just fit in a box.
Yeah, totally, totally.
And
And
I'm
he
like,
was not about the box. And he asked that of his band members also. I think of so many of his players that have just really expanded on.
yeah,
Mike Keneally is one of them in San Diego. Played on Joe's Garage and some others,
mhm,
and also Dweezil going. Playing
yeah.
Zappa plays Zappa. Some amazing musicians pushing the edge still further. Amazing.
Yeah, I just think that you should always kind of question, are you too comfortable?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
any great creator isn't gonna just rely on something they did when they were 17
Yeah.
and just keep on doing the same thing over and over. They
Right.
will push it, right?
Yeah.
And I think like if you just become an oldies act, then
Mhm.
you live in that framework.
Right, the tribute to whoever,
Yeah,
you
you
know?
I just keep on playing the top 10 hits that are on radio. It's
Yeah.
like, that's fine if that's the way you wanna live, and that pays the bills, that's good for you.
Right.
But, like, a lot of times, to me, it's not satisfying. It's not soul satisfying,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I think people have to be kinda pushed toward, like, why not cross lanes,
Yeah.
right? The real big innovators in anything
Yeah.
actually challenge the theory, challenge the canon, say, "Why can't we do this?"
Yep. Yep.
And that's scary because everybody's told when you go to school, like you put your hand up, it's like you could get laughed at. It
Totally.
seems to be the same whether you're 7 or you're 39 in the meeting. Like, are
Right.
you gonna speak out or are you gonna like just sit there and nod your head?
And there's a right answer and there's a wrong answer, and the authority is gonna tell you the difference. That's
Yeah.
just so bad, so wrong.
Yeah, it's hard to get out of the polarization today because it's like everything's on and off,
Yep.
left and
Yep.
right, black
Yep.
and white, yes and
Yep.
no.
Digital.
And and
The
everything to me is like it's always been in the grays
Yeah.
and in the
Yep.
like it's a spectrum.
Yes. Yes.
And people being come on, there's a lot of neurodivergence in artists like creative,
Totally. Totally.
and we tend to push it because
Mhm.
like why not? Say I
Right?
don't like I've never been in the in crowd. I
Uh,
didn't want to be in the in crowd, so that wasn't my point. That wasn't the
right?
point of the thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And the point is innovation and creativity, and somehow the spirit being able to manifest in something interesting and beautiful. That's an amazing vocation.
Yeah, I just think organic intelligence is interesting, the idea. Because like if you go into nature, you look at a forest, you might say, well, there's a lot of sameness, but
Mhm.
really not.
Not a
As soon as
bit.
you start looking at it in detail,
Yes,
like, wow, there's nothing that's the same at all.
that's right. That's
And
right.
and it's I think that everybody's got the 50,000 foot view, and they say, oh, these are all the pine trees are all the same.
No,
The maples are all the same. It's like that's not you're not
no,
diving enough.
right? Every leaf is absolutely unique, you know? Yeah.
And that's our
And
strength. I always tell people like it's like your ability is not matched by their ability to clone something, right?
yeah,
Like for you
yeah,
to go and just clone this, like whatever's here, like, oh, I'm gonna clone this into top 10, top 20. I'm
yeah,
gonna prove I can play that.
yeah.
I like any good musician can play that. Like,
Yep.
show me what is you. That's
Mm,
the hard thing.
yeah, it is.
Show me
Yeah.
why, why is Stevie Nicks Stevie Nicks? Why
Uh-huh.
is Lindsey Buckingham? Why is he? Because he played his guitar a totally different way. Like he
Wow.
came up with a very unique picking thing, and he
Mm,
and he and he did it. He stuck with it. He didn't get forced into, oh, that's not the right way to play it.
yep. Yeah.
So when you do that, then you get like that's your ticket.
Yeah. The uniqueness of the individual there.
Yeah, that's the hard thing 'cause today they're, oh, we just gotta make the same cat video.
Yeah. Oh,
Everybody's doing the
fantastic.
same cat video.
Right. I like the idea of nature, you know, and what's organic being unique, and also like this guy Benoit Mandelbrot in 1975, he got this term fractal, and so he
Mm,
said, no, nature, you know, is unique, and so it also has patterns. And he said, by seeing patterns, you begin to recognize more the individuality as well. And so he did that thing you were saying, like both and not the polarities, but the two sides that are together. And he said,
together,
there's patterning and there is uniqueness. And when you have both of those, then you know, then you're seeing things in greater reality.
yeah, that's kind of nature art. Like you gotta learn your scales. You
Yep.
gotta learn your chord structure. Those are like patterns. Like you learn
Yeah.
your like what
Right.
technically goes together, like what the
Yep.
skills are. And then you start pushing it and say, I could do different tunings.
Yes.
Like
Yep.
I could cross scales.
Yep.
If I do a cross scale solo, then it's going to sound more interesting than if I just stay in the same scale. If I
And
play a minute seven versus like a major chord, it's going to come out like this versus a minor chord. Like you open strings, you come up with different ideas and you say, I can learn the basics.
right.
And then you start pushing, like, what could you do with harmonics? What could you do with distortion? What could you do with
Right.
this? Like, and then you say, like, hey, it's colors, it's painting. It's
Yeah.
like, how could I show my feelings, not just the
Mm,
technical ability to hit the note,
right.
but
Right.
what is the note gonna mean?
Yeah.
That's when
Yeah.
you start to really like, are you just hitting notes? Are you trying to say something?
Yeah. Do you think as a musician, because what you it seems like what you have and musicians have is like you understand music, and whatever that is, you understand it. Like you could probably sit down with four other musicians
Yeah,
and go, let's play, and somebody starts, and then music starts to come out.
it just comes out. Yeah, with a lot of real good, I the best situations I have with musicians are when I don't have to tell them what key I'm in.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just start on a piano or something, and
Yep.
they just know what to play, and I
Yes.
kinda let them play what they think goes with it,
Right.
rather
Right.
than being some guy saying top down, "Oh, you should play this." I'm
Yeah.
kinda like, I'll play this arrangement and see what the drummer comes up with,
Right.
and
Right.
see what the bass player. Some guys like to do it top down, and then
Yep.
the last times people will be like, "I really don't like that guy."
Right. Right.
Because like, it's like like, not that you can't have a general idea, but if you allow somebody to show, like, what do they feel from that?
Mm-hmm.
And you
Mm-hmm.
could have it, you could kind of feed into, well, maybe we could go this way.
Right.
But you have a conversation like, well, maybe it was better with what he did than what I planned,
Right.
and be willing to give up your plan
Yeah. For the
based
sake
on
of the
what you hear. Like what
Yep.
you hear could be better than what you plan.
Oh, that's so good. That's so good. Yeah. Yeah. It's a principle of life somehow, isn't it? Like if we let go of our plans and just live in the moment, somehow some magic can happen.
Yeah, just like sometimes we want to tightly control every moment.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think that's where we get a little too things get a little like out of whack, it's like
Yep.
not like,
Yep.
I work in IT, like
Yep.
my day job is software design. So we got plans,
Mhm. Mhm.
but sometimes we have a happy accident. Like
Yeah.
any inventor,
Yes.
we had a project and then some programmer comes up with a new process and it's like, hey, this is better than the plan.
Yes.
And you
Yeah.
put it up the chain. If you have a really good manager, they look at it and say, hey, that's actually better than the plan.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
a manager that's like stuck to the plan,
Mhm.
they'll just like shelve that,
Yeah.
even though it's better than the plan, and
Right.
stick to the plan. And he goes, okay,
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm gonna stay with this guy.
Right. We think that that a lot of that again goes right back to bandwidth. Like when some intensity, like when the information exceeds the processor capacity, then people start shutting things down, and sometimes that bandwidth seems to get pretty taken up for whatever reason, and people start shutting down change and novelty and extra information. They're just limited in their processing capacity, and we feel like what we learned in organic intelligence is how human bandwidth can increase and how that can grow.
You can evolve it. Like I
Yep.
guess you can because like a lot of times in like in the engineering and invention world, you kind of got to be willing to open that ceiling up.
Yeah. Right.
And if you have a too restrictive mindset, then you're
Yeah.
not going to have any progress.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
you have to be willing to kind of go, with the flow.
Totally. Totally. That's where the innovation is. That's where the magic is.
Yeah, I mean that's how a lot of this tech today is all science fiction is like coming to pass. That we're having this, programmers, we're having machines, that technically are getting close. That they're not sentient. They're
Right.
not sentient, but they can do
Right.
things that make them appear to be,
Right. Right.
but they're not. But we're not even anywhere near that yet. But I mean, eventually it might go that direction.
All right.
But but eventually, right now we just got because we've taught them language.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
teach a machine language,
Yeah.
then it understands the operator, right? It
Right.
understands the instructor.
Yep.
So now we've got, there's like, oh, well, it must have feelings. Like, no, it just understands your language.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the game is going to be changing as quantum computing gets online. By the processing capacity increases, their LLMs are getting more refined. The singularity, some say singularity was within 10 or 20 years.
Yeah, I mean, eventually, if you have so much capacity and
Yeah.
it can run all the scenarios, multi-thread them through these supercomputers, and it's like doing all these things all at the same time, and
Right.
it's gaining knowledge
Yes.
and it's learning what it means.
Uh-huh.
And as it learns what it means, if it starts having interest in its own self, if it starts seeing the machine as a self,
Hmm.
then you're starting to wonder, it's like, well, maybe might have a human race might have a problem.
Right. Right. Do you worry about that?
I worry about it technically because if you look at like human beings do a lot of things that are not that smart. If you get a machine is always going to be tend to go with logic.
Yep.
And if it sees all these bad decisions and it says, well, I see all these bad decisions, I can do better than that.
I can solve this
Like,
problem.
and then it might say, well, these people are making really bad decisions. Like, why are they allowed to make those decisions?
Right. Right.
Then you start to wonder, like, what would it do if you
Yeah.
give it access to power grids, to water grids, to weapons, to
Yeah.
all kinds of things? What would it logically think is the right thing to do?
Yep. Yep.
And so as it starts to gain all this knowledge and then apply knowledge and you give it task and it's doing the task
Hmm.
and it's learning from each task and it's learning the consequences of what it did and the consequences of what you do.
Yeah.
You think it out. What could it do?
Well, I've heard computer engineers going, "Well, here's the best way to work AI. We're going to build a concrete block, a box of concrete, so that nothing gets in, nothing gets out. That's the only safe place to explore, large scale artificial intelligence."
You get too many connections to outside things, and then it could
Right.
make decisions.
Yep.
So
Yep.
you have to be concerned as like what it does it have access to.
Yep.
Like what if you give it access to something you don't want it to have access to, don't give it an open pass.
Yeah. I don't think humans have that much foresight or
No, we tend
reason.
not to think, we get into corporate America, they don't think past the quarterly report,
Totally.
even though they say they do.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you really look at what decision did you just make?
Yeah.
Was it based on a 5-year look forward, or was
Mhm.
it based on the last 2 quarters?
Yeah. Yeah. What the shareholders expect.
So you say you talk a big game about you say it's going out 5 years,
Mm.
but why did you do that?
Right.
Why did you just that doesn't seem to be a smart decision.
Yeah. Oh man. Yes. Well, yeah, well, this is it's super interesting, like how our humanity is going to proceed or not. Where it seems like we're kind of at a certain precipice of decisions about how things are going forward, and we are voting for humanity. And that some of the things that you described, some of the things that you said are like the connection to one another, the connection to nature, the things that we think make us more human, like love and compassion. We think we're investing in those areas. No matter what else happens, it's going to be a wise decision.
That's why I had an argument with a tech bro one time, and they were saying, "Well, AI could do all art." I said, "Yeah, maybe it can do all art, but it doesn't feel the art.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not a spiritual being, right?"
Right. Right.
So technically, it could create a Picasso painting,
Hmm.
right? Understanding what that is, and maybe come up with random things that like eventually get really good at it. But it's never going to feel what Picasso felt when he made the painting.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's the point of art. And I think the tech type of person just thinks about the implementation of doing the task without thinking like you're not thinking like an artist,
Mm.
right? So you're thinking too mechanically.
Yes.
And I think that's a mistake because I think they like when they start like downplaying the nature of art. And to me, art is real, the real language of humanity.
Yeah.
And you say a machine could do it.
Mm.
I think you kind of discount humanity.
Do you think as an artist that the language of humanity then has this sort of metaphysics to it, or like a spiritual
Yeah, there's
dimension
spiritual
part of?
dimension to it. Yeah, I think every artist is calling in their spiritual side. You know, it is their spiritual nature. It's you're calling the ancestors, you're calling the spirit animals, you're calling whatever you believe, but you're calling the outward
Hmm.
and the inner.
Yeah.
And it's a
Yeah.
synergy of everything. Like
Yeah.
it's not just you, it's what is outside of you.
Hmm.
And that is that synthesis that because you're an individual and your being feels something different than this other individual.
Yeah.
So when you create whatever you create, it's going to be from that your unique perspective. There's no human being that's the same.
Hmm.
So we'll always create this interesting thing that no other person could do. They could
Yeah.
try to clone it, but they're not Hendrix.
Yeah.
They're not Picasso. They're not
Yeah.
Beethoven. They're not Chopin. They're not.
Right.
It's just not. That's not. You could try to clone it, you could copy it, but you're not them.
Yeah. They're not phantom.
I just hope that people understand it's like it's important to have one foot kind of grounded on the earth.
Yes.
I
Yes.
think there's a lot of people that is like, oh, we can go to Mars, and that's fine. You go to Mars, but it's like you have to understand is like the Earth is super important. Gaia is important, and
Yeah.
if AI hurts Gaia,
Mm.
the end result is not a positive result.
Mm.
Right. So if your data center destroys the water, destroys the ozone, whatever, good thing you thought was happening,
Yeah.
if it creates damage, how good is
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. Wow, we think about that all the time because we do feel like even just the stress of these concerns about AI, about armed conflict, about the global climate change, we feel like that's all adding to so much stress to people and looks like it's escalating. So we feel like we have to be really ready ourselves, back to the sustainability of the individual. We have to be ready ourselves and feel robust because the challenges aren't getting less, and we want to be able to be there for the struggles that are inevitably things that we're going to be facing.
Yeah, we have to make some decisions. Because I mean, Oppenheimer found the paradox.
Mhm.
Like you want to do fission, you
Mhm.
spend all your time doing the fission, and then once you do it, you see Nagasaki and Hiroshima, and you're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that.
Right,
So
right.
not all tech is beneficial,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And so just because you can do it doesn't mean you should do it. And we run into this with like AI, where like there are people who want to get rid of all intellectual property rights
huh,
because AI is kind of a roadblock to AI learning.
right. Yep.
But there's something about the morality and the legal aspects of human people have a contract with themselves.
Yes.
If I create something and I have that intellectual property, I should have a right to it. Just
Yeah.
because this tech is beyond that, does that mean that we're beyond intellectual property rights?
Mm,
That we're
mm,
on privacy rights?
yep.
That we're beyond some moral contracts that we have as human beings with each other? People have to make a decision. Just because the tech can do it doesn't mean you should do it.
But people are going to do it anyway.
Yeah,
You're going to
you
do
have to create
it.
frameworks, though. I mean, you have to create a framework. I mean, it's like the idea sampling. If you were a hip hop guy,
Right, right.
sampling when you did was the Wild West. There was no. Now you have to clear the sample. Now,
Yep.
if you did a sample, you have to pay for it. To
Yeah.
me, it's like what's the same thing with the AI? If you're using somebody's property, you have to pay. Now,
It
the
makes
framework needs to change to match it.
I'm totally on board with you. It makes total sense. And it seems like as we're looking at how things are unfolding, it's those with power get access to property again. They have the right to claim, or they don't have the right, they assume the right to claim anything and everything
All
as their
property.
own.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Well, that's the big problem. Did we go back to kind of like what do you say it? The robber baron age,
Hmm.
like where you like if you can take the mine, if you
Right.
can take the village, if
Right.
you can take the property, if you can take the land, you can hold the land. You have it.
Right.
If you
Right.
want to get back to that, but we said we were beyond that, but it doesn't look like we're really beyond that.
I don't think so. I think Elon's got got a lot of data on us right now.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he broke through rules. I mean, there are rules. Like I live in data world. Like there's HIPAA rules, there's privacy rules. There are laws.
Yeah.
The tech blew by the law.
Totally.
It
Totally.
totally blew by the law and allowed them to do it.
Yes.
This
Yeah.
is where people have to have a backbone, and this is why we have laws. This is
Yeah.
why we have codes. This is why we have, a legal framework wherever country you're in. It's like we've got to make the mod that these legal frameworks go back to 1700s, 1600s, like whatever, even
Mhm.
Rome time. But like we have our kind of traditional modern industrial era level of like rules.
Yeah.
And those rules are kind of been made moot by our tech.
Totally. Right.
And
Right.
somebody needs to actually we need to have a convention on, you know, property, privacy rights in the digital age and what are human beings' rights.
No doubt. How confident are you that that will happen?
I think, in the EU, people are really into that and they're trying to
Yeah.
force it a lot more than we do. Like
Yeah,
in
totally.
Norway and Netherlands, Nordic
Right.
countries have really tight rules on that.
Right.
But we've been I don't think American people understand it.
Yeah. Me
You tell
neither.
somebody about intellectual property, tell them about constitutional law, it goes over their head.
Yeah.
Uh,
Like,
and,
yeah,
and
take that question to the Supreme Court even and see what happens.
yeah, well, they don't understand it because I don't think they understand the tech.
Yeah.
Like they don't really get that the tech can blow through the paper, right?
Yeah.
What you have in your law book,
Mhm.
this tech just obliterates.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Hmm. And it sounds like from the standpoint of understanding the intuition, the spirit in a way, you don't sound too depressed. Like it sounds like you understand a bigger dimension of what life is than just, what meets the eye.
Well, a lot of times as those artists, we've had to kind of decouple. Like if I see some of these big organizations, like I might not distribute my material to an organization that doesn't give me my property rights.
Yes. Yes.
So I might say I'm going to actually go old school and put it on vinyl. I might go and put it
Ooh.
on tape and distribute it that way. So a lot of us, like old school guys or people
Yeah.
who are innovative,
Yeah.
we're saying like, doesn't mean I don't have to do it. It just means I don't put it on your streaming platform.
Huh.
If I
Yeah.
don't put it on your platform, then you can't control me. Like
Yes.
if I go and put it back to physical, back to tape, back to
Uh-huh.
vinyl,
Right.
then you can't touch it. If I go do it, if I'm an artist and I put it on a canvas
Right.
and I don't scan it and I don't
Yep.
digitize it,
Yeah.
then you can't control it. So
Super
people have
interesting.
figured out like, no, it's the old school default.
Yep.
Just don't
Yep.
digitize it.
Super interesting. Right? Huh. Oh, that's super smart. Yeah.
That's what a lot of artists are going to figure out. I mean, a lot of us haven't figured out. I'm in communities. I've got people who have multiple types of art, and
Right.
they've all kind of figured that out.
Super interesting. I have to say, I feel also hopeful. In AI, you can get really great coaching supports or therapy support in AI, but I think we're out to do something different. That is going back old school, which is it's one-to-one communication. There is a specific interaction that we have that we think really touches into the brain's readiness to be bigger, better, faster, and more compassionate at the same time. So we also are kind of in that way just old school. We're not leaning into AI in the same way. But
Yeah, I think that's important because people have forgotten. They think AI is like the new trick. It's a shiny new thing,
Mhm.
and everybody's throwing it on everything, even if it doesn't really apply.
Mm.
And I think like human beings have always learned from like oral. I went to Bowdoin College. It's like you have oral exams, blue book exams. Things weren't SAT like test, and you had to relay like an oral exam with your professor
Right.
what you learned. Right? I still
Person to
think
person.
that's super important. It shows you really know it.
Right. 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 Huh. Because maybe that professor is listening for something that you don't even have any idea that you know and can hear it. Huh.
I just think that that human connection. It's like when if you physically play, you go see a play,
Yep.
like a play in New York off
Yep.
Broadway. You could be watching some AI generated thing, but
Mm.
watching that real actor on the stage
Yes.
do the death of a salesman, do that play.
Right.
That to me is going to always appeal. It's like I don't care if somebody gets some AI actor to do it. I'd rather see the real human actor do it because I'm
How
looking
come?
for what they do
How
as an
come?
actor.
What? Yeah. What is that? You think? What are you getting? Do you think from that?
I just think
I,
it's like
I
the
do.
idea, like if you watch a silent film, like if you watch Orson Welles, like like you see what actors do with nonverbal communication.
Uh-huh.
What they do with their eyes, what they do with their hands, like what they do, the space between their
Yeah.
lines,
Yeah.
like how they interpret the role. It becomes their whole body is they're not just acting with their mouth;
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
their whole spirit. And I think if people are so distracted today that they don't focus on the thing that they're watching, like if you go to a play, you probably aren't looking at your smartphone. You're actually going to focus on the play.
Yeah.
You're going to see what that human interaction, and that's why I think it's important when somebody is actually, in a meeting with you or in a session, is like that human interaction.
Mm.
It's like that's worth a lot. And
Yeah.
I think as we get more disconnected in the digital age, I think people are going to start relying back on the human connections. Like
I
you're,
sure hope so. I sure hope so. I mean, I see, when I go to a concert or something, mostly what I see is people with their phones up there watching their phones of the live performer.
yeah, that's a big. I was watching an old concert of the Who at the Isle of Wight,
Mhm.
and people were just like watching Keith Moon on the drum set, and they're watching Pete Townsend doing the windmills, and there's no cell phones. Everybody's focused on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
watching Woodstock performance. I was watching like people were looking at Hendrix, like
Mm.
back when he played the Royal Albert Hall,
Mhm.
or when he did like the thing with the band of gypsies.
Mm.
Yeah, in San Francisco, I think. It's just like you see the crowd was so into the music, and I would look at some of these modern crowds, like you said, there's like they're using their cell phones, they're taking like selfies. Are they even listening to the music?
Right.
It's like,
Right.
what are you really getting out of this performance?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think like sometimes I like feel like we got to teach people how to be listeners.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, they need to relearn because they kind of like learn like maybe some wrong things, some bad habits.
Hmm. Yeah. I think for us, it goes right back to limited bandwidth. It's like, oh, I'm comfortable in my box, and it's just limited input. So that makes me feel comfortable. But if we can grow that capacity, grow the bandwidth,
Yeah,
literally,
that's
then
what I'm saying.
people have room. They can hear the many, the many instruments of the symphony all together.
Yeah, I think that's super important about the bandwidth because I think that's we're filtering out a lot of good stuff,
Yeah.
and people need to kind of, I've always like told my daughter, she's 25, and like, she'll have her cell phone, her iPad, her PS5, and a TV all on.
Hmm.
I said, "What are you actually looking at?"
Hmm.
And she's got multiple things going at the once, and she's multitasking. But I mean, that's kind of modern age. That's what people do.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
if it's like back when we had 3 TV channels and you went to the library and used the Dewey Decimal System,
Yeah.
you when you read Huckleberry Finn, you weren't looking at your cell phone, you weren't listening to Spotify while you're reading it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're actually reading it. So I'm
Yeah.
wondering, like, these kids today, are they actually reading Huckleberry Finn?
Right.
And do they actually understand what they read?
Or is the channel of their mind just also multitasking so there's no concentration? There's no focus in a way, or no absorption of the depth of feeling that may be there. Maybe we're distracted. Maybe we get 5 minutes of the Huckleberry Finn and then I'm thinking about something else. I'm distracted and distractible.
I'm just wondering how that's good for humanity to have so many distracted people when something serious happens.
Yeah.
Can you actually you buckle down and get to it? Can you
Well,
solve problems?
right. Well, something serious has happened. We broke the climate, and nobody seems to be around to help fix it around here.
No, no, we decided that it's like this. Let's just keep on burning oil.
Right. Right.
Like let's go to Mars. If you look at the solution is okay, what you got to go to the moon to Mars.
Right.
That's the solution.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Hmm.
I think I'd rather be here.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah,
Yeah. With a sitting under a tree or something, listening to birdsong.
yeah, being on Mars, it's like it looks like a lot of dirt and sand and red sand. Is like okay, that's interesting for a little bit,
Yep.
not that
Yep.
much.
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
But I want to let people know again, we've got your QR code, which has your organicintelligence.org, and it's got the OI coach certification. And you
Mhm.
talk about if people actually click on that, what do they get there when they hit that link?
When they hit that link, they get access to organic intelligence, and that means that they contact really exactly what we've been talking about, which is the depths of their own being and wholeness. And we just have figured out a way to help people access that so that it grows. That is, it's always there, but we are distracted by all the things we've been talking about, and that we can have less distraction and more centering on who we really are as beings. And we hope that that is a hopeful message for people.
That's cool. I encourage people to click on that. And if you don't know how to do that with your phone, we do have the other link there that once the podcast is over, we've been live on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Kick. And we're going to be on multiple channels where you can listen to this or watch it on Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, Amazon, Newslead, many other platforms by tomorrow. And we'll send you a landing page to share with the audience for that. But thank you again for being on the show today.
Thank you so much for allowing an improvisation and a riffing rather than some kind of interview. So much better. Thank you for being live. Thank you for being you.
Thank you.
Pleasure.